The sun beat down, the blacktop shimmered, heat haze danced on Route 66. Jack drove, his jaw clenched, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Beside him Lily hummed, oblivious to his tension. "You sure about this shortcut, Jack?" Lily asked, her voice cutting through the drone of the engine. "GPS says it's faster," Jack mumbled, his eyes darting to the rearview mirror. Nothing but empty road. Still, a prickle of unease ran down his spine. He couldn't shake the feeling they were being watched. They'd been on the road for hours ever since that unsettling encounter at the last gas station. The attendant, a gaunt man with eyes that seemed to bore into Jack's soul, had warned them about the dangers of this road. "Don't stop for anyone," he'd rasped, his voice a chilling whisper. Jack had dismissed it as local superstition, but now with the sun dipping lower and shadows lengthening, he wasn't so sure. The highway stretched before them, a ribbon of asphalt winding through the desolate landscape. Gone were the charming towns and bustling diners that had dotted their journey earlier. Now, there was nothing but scrubland, the silence broken only by the wind whistling through the cracked windows of their old Ford. The radio, which had been playing oldies all day, crackled and died, plunging them into an unsettling silence. Lily tried the dial, but only static greeted her. "Great," she muttered, "just what we need." Jack, his unease growing, gripped the steering wheel tighter. He thought he saw a figure standing at the edge of their vision, a tall, shadowy form silhouetted against the setting sun. But when he blinked, it was gone. Nightfall brought a new wave of fear. The headlights cut through the darkness, illuminating the deserted road ahead. Each bend brought a fresh surge of adrenaline, the fear of the unknown clawing at Jack's sanity. The silence in the car was broken only by the hum of the engine and the rustle of the map Lily unfolded. She traced a finger along the faded lines, her brow furrowed. "There's supposed to be a town up ahead," she said, her voice tight with anxiety. "Willow Creek. We should be there by now." Jack didn't answer. He was too focused on the road, his senses on high alert. The hair on the back of his neck stood on end. He could have sworn he heard a faint whisper, just at the edge of hearing, coming from the radio. He glanced at the dashboard. The radio was still dead. "Did you hear that?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Lily, her face pale in the dim light, shook her head. She looked terrified. The whisper came again, this time a little louder, a chilling moan that seemed to slither from the speakers. Jack slammed his foot on the accelerator, his heart pounding in his chest. The old Ford roared down the empty highway, its headlights cutting through the darkness like twin beams of hope. Jack pushed the car to its limits, desperate to outrun the unseen terror that stalked them. He risked a glance in the rearview mirror. His blood ran cold. 2 pinpricks of light pierced the darkness behind them, gaining fast. A vehicle, its headlights like the eyes of a predator, was closing in. Panic seized him. He gripped the steering wheel tighter, his knuckles white with tension. "What is it? What do they want?" Lily cried, her voice shrill with terror. Jack didn't know. But he knew one thing. They had to escape. He slammed his foot down on the accelerator, pushing the old Ford to its absolute limit. The engine roared in protest, but Jack didn't care. He was running for their lives. The speedometer needle hovered near the red line as Jack wrestled the car along the winding road. The pursuing headlights loomed closer, growing larger in the rearview mirror. Suddenly, a weathered sign flashed in the headlights. "Willow Creek, 1 mile." Hope surged through Jack. Maybe they could find help in the town. Maybe they weren't alone after all. He careened into the town, the car bouncing over the uneven road. But the town was deserted. Buildings stood empty, windows dark and lifeless. A rusting gas pump stood sentinel outside a dilapidated diner, its neon sign flickering erratically. The wind howled through the empty streets, carrying with it the faint scent of decay. Jack's hopes plummeted. Willow Creek wasn't a haven, it was a ghost town. The headlights behind them screeched to a halt. They were trapped. Jack's breath caught in his throat. The headlights of the pursuing vehicle illuminated the deserted street, casting long, menacing shadows. He could hear the engine idling, a low growl that sent shivers down his spine. "We have to get out of here," he whispered, his voice trembling. Lily nodded, her eyes wide with terror. They fumbled for the door handles, but it was too late. The headlights flashed, bathing the car in a blinding light. Jack shielded his eyes, his heart pounding against his ribs. A voice boomed from a loudspeaker, amplified and distorted, echoing through the empty streets. "Turn off the engine and step out of the vehicle, slowly." Jack exchanged a terrified look with Lily. Their pursuers had arrived, and they were not what he expected. As the car doors clicked open, revealing the figures stepping out into the light, Jack realized with a sickening dread this was no ordinary road trip gone wrong. This was something far more sinister, and it was only just beginning.